Y'all, I've been wanting to make this video for a very long time. Why are we as YouTubers always talking about don't trust this person and don't trust this person and always watch your back and all these other things? I'm frankly tired of seeing it. So in this video, I want to talk about why it's okay that you can trust the people that you work with. You don't always have to be friends with everyone you work with, but it's okay to trust them. Let's talk about it. So first, I want to start this video out by talking about the science of trust in teams. In fact, research by the American Psychological Association reveals that trust in the workplace is closely linked to job satisfaction, engagement, and performance, and teams with high levels of trust have greater productivity, better collaboration, and lower stress levels. These teams also demonstrate high team morale, a sense of pride in their work, and increased creativity. And why is that? Because when team members trust other people, they're allowed to be more vulnerable, more creative, more insightful with what they're doing. So think about in your personal life, you have the people who you trust, the people who you tell everything to. Those people aren't going to judge you for a little thing that you do because you're able to be vulnerable with them and actually trust them with that information. Now, let me be clear, I'm not telling you that you need to tell all of your deepest, darkest secrets to your coworkers, but what I'm saying is it's okay to trust your coworkers and not feel like you have to constantly be guarded or shield yourself from your coworkers at every waking minute of the day. When we're talking about perspective of trust as it relates to coworkers, sometimes people have bad bosses, sometimes you work in a company culture that's kind of toxic, or you have coworkers that you can't agree with or who are constantly trying to be sneaky and outwit you and things like that. But it's scientifically proven that the more that you've built trusting relationships with coworkers or with people who are capable of that, let's say, you start to see a stronger relationship and cooperation in relationship building, as well as reduced conflicts. And that's because a lot of conflicts in the workplace are started because people are misunderstanding where they're coming from. It's very rare, and I will say this as someone who's been around for a while, it's very rare that coworkers are just genuinely malicious. Oftentimes, it's because they're incentivized to be sneaky or not being rewarded for being a team player. And it's because they feel either threatened or insecure about something you're doing. So it's very rare that coworkers are actually actively malicious. It's usually the context that creates or the environment that fosters them to have these kind of unhealthy behaviors, unhealthy opinions, things like that. So trust, working together, reduces those conflicts on a very grand scale. And that's not even just me saying that, that's actual psychological employment workplace research of companies paying billions of dollars trying to figure out the impact of trust and how it relates to teams. So what specifically happens when you start to trust your coworkers? The first thing is there's an enhanced team collaboration. It creates a collaborative place where people can give their ideas and also receive ideas, bounce off of ideas, and create new things that didn't exist before, and just generally getting people kind of more inspired, more creative to come up with more ideas and solutions to problems that exist. The second thing is increased job satisfaction. If you can trust your coworkers, there's a sense of feeling valued and respected on your team. And when you feel valued and respected, there's higher levels of team engagement and overall job satisfaction that you didn't get before. So if you're trusting your team, it genuinely means that you're going to be happier at work, which we all love. The third thing is there's improved communication. If you're working on something or you have people that you want to talk to, you're more likely to go talk to them and not feel like weird about approaching somebody. Do they want to talk to me? Do they not want to talk to me? If you can trust your team and you know that you can be vulnerable with them, you have a new idea for a project, you have a new idea for a workflow, you can come up to them and say, hey, what do you think about this? And they will do the same in return. It's just increased communication all the way around. The fourth thing is increased efficiency, because people aren't working against each other. If you're trusting of your team and you're not constantly on edge and feeling like everyone's out to get you and you can just genuinely work with people, things tend to get done in a more streamlined way. And the fifth thing is it's a deeper learning experience. You aren't just going there, doing your job and going home. You're actually getting more out of your role and seeing the complexities of what you're capable of doing on a deeper level and actually experiencing your job or your role in a way that allows for you to grow at a more accelerated rate as a professional. Okay, so let's say you're still with me on this video. You're open to the idea of trusting your coworkers. You have a lot of things that you can see that are benefits of working with a team member. How do you actually start building trust with a team member if maybe you don't trust them now, or you're new to working with them, or you're trying to figure it out, what are some things that you can actually do to start building trust on your team? The first thing is to be honest and transparent. Now, I'm not saying you need to be overly sharing or you need to be overly whatever when you talk to your coworkers, but you need to be honest with people and you need to be communicative. I work with a lot of Europeans, and I know that I have some Europeans watching. I work with a lot of Europeans, and one of the things that I was very surprised by is they are very honest and they're very direct about their opinions, to the point where I sometimes get a little caught off guard of like, oh, okay, that we're being a little too honest here. But if you can be even some semblance of honest and direct in your communications when you're talking to somebody and maybe not being sugar-coaty or whatever, that's the first step in building trust. You don't want to be rude. You don't want to be kind of degrading, but if you can be honest and be truthful about your experience, about your thoughts, about your opinion, people are going to see that and say, oh, this is a space where we can be honest with each other. The second thing that you want to do is you want to show empathy and be actively listening. Now, not everything that all of your coworkers say is actually interesting, but sometimes someone's having a bad day and they just need to get it off their chest and say, you know, this has been really draining for me, whatever, whatever, whatever. And if you can be an active listener and actually show empathy to those individuals, you're going to start building that relationship with them and start building a trusting bond that you guys can kind of go back and forth and actually open up that vulnerability on your team to make sure that you are able to do a lot more. Number 3 is you want to follow up on your commitments. Now, the biggest thing with trust is you want to start with small pieces at first, and eventually they get bigger and bigger and bigger. But when you can do what you say you're going to do, it's the biggest indicator that someone can trust you and they can rely on you. So that is a critically important step. The fourth thing is you want to be supportive and offer help when needed. Now, the catch here is you don't expect other people to jump in and help you every single time. But if you are able to jump in and be supportive and be helpful, it means that people can trust you and you can start to build that kind of step by step by step relationship and make sure that people are able to trust you and open up kind of that sense of even asking you at some point, hey, can you help me with this? And the last key step here is you want to respect individual differences and avoid making assumptions. Now, I talk about this a lot with hiring, specifically when I work with managers. The biggest gap that a lot of people have is making assumptions about people or letting their own biases go unchecked. And I'm telling you, in most situations, the assumptions, your own assumptions, are preventing you from moving forward. And when I started this video, I talked about how other YouTubers are constantly talking about how you can't trust anyone, you need to watch your back at all times, that you can't be friends with your coworkers. Their assumption is that you don't have the capability to navigate who you should trust and who you shouldn't trust. And in my opinion, you should always use trust as a default unless someone has shown that they don't deserve it. But in the end, trust is the fundamental key decider of if a team is going to succeed or not. And if you're hearing from other YouTubers or other people online telling you that you shouldn't trust anyone, I would be a little reluctant to follow their advice. And with that, if you're trying to figure out how to communicate more directly with your coworkers and more honestly, check out this video that I made about communicating directly and being honest with other people. With that, I will see you in the next one.